props that they're using to prop up the way that you propaganda at things, shaping your beliefs, shaping your views, shaping your attitudes and assumptions and opinions and ideologies, which all in turn, that all gives rise to the things that you get behind and the things that you go against, right? If you want to be effective in propaganda and propping the way that people propaganda, generally one of the most foundational things that you need to consider is appealing to people's emotions. Now, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, right? I'm just like Yeadon, I'm pro-safety, pro-choice, especially where family is concerned. But with that said, let's say I was somebody. Let's say I wasn't nobody, and that I was somebody. Like, let's say I was Russell Brand saying this kind of stuff, right? And then the news picked up and they're like, "Oh, here," and then they'd start off like just doing a total smear, appealing to people's emotions, just discrediting as they do, right? And they'd probably say something like, "Oh, here he is, even opening up with a disclaimer that what he's doing is propaganda," because that's what this is. That's what this is propaganda. It's all propaganda. Anything that you're saying with the intention and the design, right, to like influence and shape how they're viewing, like the people who are receiving your information, to shape how they're viewing something or feeling is about something, and to maybe influence their position in relation to something. That's propaganda. You are literally propping up the way they propaganda, the way they look at something. So it's all propaganda, really, and in the same kind of vein that everything's indoctrination. If it's information I get from you and it gets taken into my doctrine and becomes part of my code and affects my ideology or my values, then you could say that you've indoctrinated me, even if you didn't actually set out with that specific intention in mind. That is just me describing what would have happened, right? So on with the propaganda and the whole idea of appealing to emotions. I'm going to be trying to, in the way that I'm hoping to prop the way that you propaganda at things, right? The way that you view certain subjects and ideas and maybe some facts. That I have a feeling that, I think we're past. I think we're past facts. I think we'll pass facts in since ever, really. I think I was ignorant to think there was a chance, but I think we'll pass facts in 2020, 2021 for shizzle. 2022 and 22 for sure. 2023, bit of a question mark growing in some people's mind. And 2024, here we are. I see a lot of purple framed profiles on Facebook. And are you detecting joy? Are you detecting joy in my face? Are you detecting some kind of sadistic, maybe animalistic, basal drive? I would hazard a guess. Yes. Yes, why? Because, well, I was literally treated like an animal. Yes, I was one of the people that never wore a mask, never once. I'm a man of honesty. I think it's good to be authentic in life. Otherwise, how could you have self-respect if you're not even you? Then how could you even respect you? There is no you to respect. You got to have dignity, got to be authentic. I wore a mask once to go into a hospital. It was the only way I could see my daughter and get her seen to immediately because she fell out of a van and hit her head on the bitumen, and she was like a year and a half, and I just wanted to get her in the hospital. And I made that choice. I made that choice. All right. And what did it cost me? Well, it cost me just a bit of just like rolling down, going down and on all fours and rolling out my spine like red carpet for fascism, as I like to say, and complying with mandates which weren't legal and weren't dignified to follow. And I'm not going to go down that. I'm not going to rehash old arguments. We've all freaking heard them, right? What I am going to say is I made my choice. I made a bunch of choices. I made my choices to every other occasion not wear a mask, along with the mother of our children and along with our children. Okay, those are choices I made. I made the choice to not get the jab. All right, and I've seen ever since the beginning. I've seen like since the jab's been going out. I've seen a lot of posts of people putting up on their profiles. Even I don't regret not getting the jab. I don't regret not getting the jab. That's been persistent from the beginning. It's only now that I'm starting to see long jab, long COVID. I am not disinformation. I am vaccine injured. I'm seeing more of them cropping up now. From the beginning, I've seen I do not regret getting the jab. I don't see that stopping. I still see people maintaining that. And the other side of the fence are starting to kind of change their tune a little bit. So it's interesting. And yes, it might be a detection of not really joy, maybe satisfaction, because we were treated like animals to the point where the first thing I did when our little one fell out the van is I went into a chemist, and the guy was this like big Indian guy. He was like a guard in the chemist. First he wouldn't let us in because of the mask situation. And at that point I didn't want to make a fuss and mate. My child just fucking fell. Come on. Like, look, I need an ice pack, and then we're gonna go to the hospital. And then basically he let our mother in, the mother of our children, and then basically watched her, like followed her apparently through each aisle as she was looking for the ice pack, like she was a fucking terrorist or something like this, right? Hello, everyone. You're entertaining. Love the chats you have. With us. Oh, thanks. If you're real, that really means something. If you're not real, that makes a nice impression for my ego to go, thank you so much, But yeah, we were kind of, and that was a small taste. I'm sure when I say we're treated like animals, I bet there's some people out there. Well, it's good to see a real lucky coin. I'm really glad to hear it. There are some people out there who probably look at that situation of somebody just like treating you like a terrorist, right? Or like treating you like you're a leper at the shops. Because literally, we're walking around no mask, and probably for every 1,000 people, or maybe 900 people I see wearing you know, I see one person or one little group of people not. And that's when I was like, I always was a big fighter. I was like, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to save the world. When I was a teenager, I'm like, I'm going to take down Rupert Murdoch. I'm going to create this guerrilla journalism that's going to be the alternative that people can go to for honest, true journalism with integrity, right? And then I realized, well, fucking Murdoch's just the tip of the fucking iceberg. There's a lot more going on here, right? And then became aware of the bigger picture, and then realized, oh man, well, there's still a fighting chance. There's still a fighting chance. And then COVID came, and I was just like, lost all fucking hope. Lost all fucking hope. Like, in a big poof cloud. And now we're going through kind of another big poof cloud, and that's making me lose even more fucking hope. And this fucking troubling fucking, I don't know, excuse for something that you could say resembles intelligent life, if you're confused enough. But I digress. So people might look at those situations and say, that's not being treated like an animal. This is treated like an animal. What I take issue with, I'm a people person. I'm not just like a little old me. It's just about me trapped in my little ego bubble. Just me, 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 me. It's not even. It's not even just about we. If you flip the me into a we, it's not just about that. It's about I. Because realize real fucking lies, right? But we're not getting esoteric here. We're not doing that. We're going to bring it down from I. We're going to bring it up from me, and we're going to focus this here on we, just between us, right? I'm a we guy. I'm a people person. So if other people have been treated like animals, if a lot of people around the world are copying shit, not for being anti-vaxxers, which is the propagandic frame that they framed us on the news in every way, you couldn't get away from hearing that term almost daily. Anti-vaxxers, oh, anti-vaxxers, and then people got on board with that, wishing anti-vaxxers death, that someone will take their children, that they shouldn't be served in hospitals, they should be denied fucking basic rights, essentially, right? Everyone just like flipped on hate mode. And yeah, I could quickly make the comment of like, now those same people that were doing that and getting behind that, I'm like, sorry, I guess we were kind of wrong and totally regretful. I just want you guys to know I didn't have a choice. And now I'm injured and totally see your point of view. Yeah, but you did have a choice to be a decent human being or an absolute cunt, and you chose the latter, right? You chose the latter. Not only did you roll out your spine like red carpet for fascism, bend over and like, yeah, no thinking, just like a cog reacting to the pressure of the daily stats, reacting to the pressure, turn left, turn right, whatever, to whatever fear pressure has been externally put upon us through various mechanisms. But you take that spine that you've rolled out and you start whipping me in the face of it. You start whipping other people in the face of it and saying that those people deserve less respect, less rights, and pretty dignified treatment, right? So part of me is going to be like, yeah, maybe that's why I'm a bit satisfied to see a lot of purple going around. A lot of purple, a lot of, is it envy or is envy green? No, yeah, it's green, right? But I see the purple going around. I see the friends, the vaccine injured, and this reversal of attitude. And part of me is like, sorry, man. I hope when you're looking at those 9 pages of all the fucking adverse effects, when that dart hits one of those, or maybe a number of those, I hope it's going to be something minor. May luck be on your side. Maybe, maybe out of the many, 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 many potential or probable adverse effects, maybe you will manage to somehow not hit a single one. Anything is possible. And let's move into that frame of thinking now. I invite you now. Let's move into the whole anything is possible, opening our mind to the possibilities of what could be true. Yes, it could be true now that you'll be okay. And that you'll miss all those adverse effects in those 9 pages, and you'll throw a dart and you'll hit nothing. That could be true. A couple of years ago, absolutely could not be true that anything that the anti-vaxxers slash pro-safety, pro-choice, pro-freedom, anti-fascism people were saying couldn't be true. Can't open our mind to that. But let's open our mind in tribute to you now that you're going to be fine and you're going to invade all of those. And that's what this is about. Part of this is about, like the title says, that I am sick. I'm getting to the point now because I generally ramble, right? I think starting off with propaganda and how I want to appeal to emotions is a good way to start, and I never finish what I said. I want to appeal to emotions in a way that arouses disgust in yourself. I want you to feel guilt. I want you to feel guilt. Maybe not shame. Maybe not disgust. Disgust. I mean, that's what they say. Like my higher mind is like, no, 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 no. Not shame. Not disgust. Guilt. Accountability. Like that's what the higher self says. That's what the parent in me says. It's like with your children, right? The way you want to raise your kids is it's healthy to allow them to experience guilt, like when they do something that's wrong or like doesn't work in your culture and socially, it breaks etiquette, it's wrong, it's unfair, it's harmful, whatever. You want them to feel guilt for what they've done. You want them to acknowledge that what they've done is not okay and to process that feeling that follows, right? It's an important process, feeling guilt. Some people say, oh, don't, they feel bad enough, don't. It's like, no, I want them to understand and process why it's wrong. And then I want them to sit with the feeling, all right? Because we learn from guilt. Guilt keeps us like a moral compass sharpened, keeps it pointing north, keeps us knowing when we're slipping off and we start feeling truly fucking terrible the more it goes off center, right? Shame, on the other hand, is when we really personalize it, and that's when it's disgust, right? Disgust, self-loathing, right? When instead of just objectively assessing the behavior or the action, the choice, whatever it be, right? That we feel guilty about, that wasn't ideal, right? When we personalize it and we start judging the self and latching onto it. This is when people like rub kids' noses, when parents have that very authoritative, kind of sadistic, control freak, punishment type rubbing nose in the soil of their mistakes, and they keep reminding them about the mistake they made after they've already learned the fucking thing. It's like, I got it, dad, I got it, mum, got it, whoever. Thanks for constant. And that breeds shame. So I want us to be constructive. Yeah, I want humanity to advance because I'm a wee guy, right? I'm a wee little guy, but I'm a big ass wee guy at the same time, right? So, I don't want you to feel shame. I want you to feel guilt. Yeah, I do. I think it's healthy that we allow ourselves the opportunity to acknowledge when we chose wrong. I think it's healthy to acknowledge when we have made a choice. Full stop. Don't you? And on top of that, let's say a few years ago you chose to say yes, right, to everything. And let's say you choose to hate on those that said no to the main things that everyone should have said no to, right? Hearts aligned, hearts be aligned. Let's say you chose that. Please, for the love of God, don't choose cowardice twice. Don't choose cowardice twice. And start telling us now that you didn't have a choice. Oh, I didn't have a choice because I was paying off the mortgage. I didn't have a choice because I would have had to relocate from my home. I wouldn't have had a choice. I would have lost my job. I didn't have a choice. I wouldn't have been able to see this person. I didn't have a choice. I wouldn't have been able to go back home, right? And there's a bunch of different reasons, and some of them are more compelling than others. Like, yes, if you're stranded, if you're not going to be able to see the people you love, you have a loved one in hospital, and the government's like, wait, you can't see that person. They're going to die alone, let's say, unless you get this little. Well, we don't really know what it is because it's been so fast tracked. But once the dust settles, we'll have an idea. Once we see where the body count is at, we'll have an idea how it affects people, right? But till then, you can't see your fucking loved one in hospital until you get the shit. I would just be like, you know what? I love my Peppy. I love my Peppy in hospital. I love whoever it is in hospital. But I love freedom. But like all life and future generations of humankind, just a little bit more. Like all of humankind is just a little bit more important than me seeing my fucking Peppy in hospital. Sorry, Peppy. I love you. But you understand, there are bigger things here. And that's the basic attitude. So I don't mean to be racist. I just have different kind of feels. Maybe I associate like in my mind, the idea of family and importance and spiritual connection and all that with India a bit, maybe for whatever reason. The old Eastern ideologies, which has influenced me a bit. I digress. Don't choose cowardice twice. All right. If you made a mistake, because at the end of the day, you made a choice. Can we just accept that? Can we get past the stage of denial and just move towards acceptance? Is that possible? Can we maybe do that? You made a choice. I'm sure you had reasons. Like most of the time we make a choice, we have a reason for it, even when we don't think we do, and it's just us reacting biologically. There's a reason. I'm sure you had your reasons. Are those reasons justifiable in the grand scheme of things? When you're looking at the reality of what it means for humankind and all future generations, irrevocably, irreversibly, because it's genetic, right? And it passes. When you're looking at what it means, like end game wise, for humanity on a big scale, perpetually in time, versus your little situation, however big it is to you, subjectively, when you compare that subjective important situation as to why, or group of factors as to why you made your choice, and let's say you chose to get the jab, right, and you chose to support it, and I'm not even going to go into why you would choose to support it so much as to shit on anyone who didn't support it. I'm not going to go into that because that's stuff you need to work on. That's really some shit you guys need to work on. There's so much animalism. And why? Because people, and it's so much fucked up backward thinking. Like people are like, these people are so selfish, trying to keep us trapped in our freedoms because they're not going to get the jab and blah blah blah. It's like, dude, these guys are doing it because they don't want us to sell out our liberty and leave it at the door and roll out our spine for fascism to just walk in on like red carpet. That's why they're saying no. You guys totally got it backwards. Hi, Arif Khan. It's a pleasure. Hi, how do you do? Welcome. Um, don't be a coward twice. You made a choice. You had your reasons. You're paying off a mortgage. Cool. So you can choose your mortgage. You can choose your house, right? Or your health and your family's health. Okay. You wanted to see someone, or you were stuck somewhere and you couldn't travel back home, or whatever it is. Okay. Once again, same argument. You can choose health. You can choose all of your offspring and their offspring and their offspring, and collectively, the more people that say yes, it kind of gives the nod for fascism. Like, cool, yeah, we can just keep doing this to everyone, and then start writing legislation around it, and then it's locked in anytime. And this is what they got. That's what they've already done with the WEF and the WHO. There's a lot of interesting. You guys, I'm sure half of you are aware of the legislation changes, the powers that supersede the national constitutions, like based on just fucking who says, yeah, this is fine. We need to do it because there could be a pandemic. No evidence that there is, but there could be. We smelt a pandemic here, so we're going to yank you out of your car and pull down your undies and just shove this up there. But it's legal because a few years ago everybody said yes because they had to visit puppy in hospital. It was very important that they got back home to pay off their mortgage. It's so important. You wouldn't understand. Say that to humanity and what's been lost, yeah? Where am I from? Chicken King. Who, me? Who, you? Yeah, I'm talking to you, man. I'm talking to you, man. I'm from Australia, man. I'm from Australia, mate. I'm from Australia. But yeah, okay. So don't be a coward twice. If you're, I would say that's cowardice. I'd say that really you can use that shit as an excuse. You can be like, "Yo, man, it was my work. Yo, man, I had no choice." A lot of people say that. Man, I had no choice. I would have lost my job, man. I would have lost my. I'm like, mate, yeah, cowardice. Even if it's not because, even if I'm not saying cowardice because you're afraid of it, that you think COVID was real, right? It's not just a flu and your body trying to eject toxins from everywhere, like pollution in the air and in the water and the food. Hence, we sweat and we vomit and we have diarrhea and we sneeze and cough because our body is literally in every single fucking way trying to eject toxins, which I wonder, but where could toxins come from? Well, I did mention from every fucking where, right? Flu is a good thing. Flu, it comes from like the chimneys, right? Cleaning out the old chimneys, cleaning out the soot. Like you think about what a flu looks like. It's your body trying to eject in every single functional, physical fucking way you can fathom, right? A kid would look at it and you ask them, "What do you think's going on?" I'm like, "Well, I see them shitting a lot. I see them pissing a lot. I see them vomiting a lot. I see them sneezing, coughing, sweating a lot. I'd say that there's something that's inside that's trying to get outside. That's the common denominator. You're like, wow, that's an A fucking plus for you. Best and brightest in this lonely corner of the world. Yeah. But anyhow, maybe you thought that the flu isn't a miraculous thing that's just hardwired into your beautiful anatomy, perfectly designed by whatever force, whatever consciousness, whatever it be. It's been designed to eject bullshit and toxins, right? You can fear the flu like it's a bad thing, like the repair system, like eject fucking viruses, eject bad shit from your system is actually a virus itself, like it's a bad thing. Like the cure is the poison, so therefore take this poison as your cure. You can buy into that, and I'm not touching that. I'm not touching it, but it's still fear. It's still cowardice if you chose yes because you didn't want to lose your fucking job. Wow, cool. So you'd have to make some like drastic lifestyle changes. Yeah, you'd have to like maybe go down to black and gold brand when you're shopping and not go to your favorite clubs for a time. You can't party at the festival with all your besties. Oh man, you had no choice. You really had to fucking party and maintain your maximum protein diet. Like you really had to go back home immediately. Fuck all humanity in the future of our genetic code and the golden ratio and the perfect balance of all the different systems of life and ecosystem and everything. I mean, we were already kind of testing and fucking around with that, but now we've just it's hard to process what's been done and what it means. Like, even if you knew what mRNA was and the amount of people that don't know what it is, you had a choice to at least know what the fuck you were having injected into you and your family and your children, and that you were pressuring other people and treating them like animals, coercing them with tyrannical forces to do the same deplorable thing that you did, which now you say you had no choice for. And you have a choice to what narrative you use now. And that's why I say don't be a fucking coward twice. Be honest and be like, you know what? I did have a choice and I made my choice for these reasons. And people can debate those reasons and you can debate back. People can debate those reasons and you can say, fuck off. People can just accept it and be like, jolly good. But you had reasons. You have a choice. You can't just, you know, roll out your spine, welcome fascism, and especially if you got on board hating on people who are anti this and not getting behind fascism like you and just rolling the dice on their lives and their families' lives with fucking experimental genetic altering shit, right? ugh, the whole thing just it's a headache. I'm just gonna take a quick step back and come back into that. Hey, me too. What state are you from? I already answered that. I already answered that. So you have a choice. You have a choice now to say, I made my choice. These are my reasons. You know what I mean? You made your choice for reasons. Own it. Move past denial into acceptance and own that you did have a choice. And that right now, once again, just like you will many times in your life, you can't just hang up responsibility, even though you put your chips and your vote in to cement something in legislation that now is pretty much unfucking stoppable, right? Like it's been normalized. It's the new norm. Things don't just become the new norm just because a bunch of people on TV around the world, in a very coordinated, choreographed fashion, start saying it. Things become the new norm because all those people on those screens with their little pipes actually have an effect that is successful and effective, right? And people start dancing accordingly and moving in the direction they want them to move in and signing what they want them to sign and receiving the things they want them to receive and doing the things they want them to do and shitting on the people they want them to shit on. That's how things become the new normal. When you, along with enough others, lend yourself to it, whether that's lending your action to it, lending your voice to it, lending your signature to it, or when you sit by and still comply with it, but then do nothing else to balance the situation, to make sure that nothing's being left unchecked, that the situation is actually fair and right, that, there's some parts of like, are there many people who said yes, but at the same time acknowledge this isn't right, the way these people are being treated who aren't saying yes? Or there's an overreach happening here? Probably. Probably. And that's why I say this isn't me addressing everyone who said yes, right? This is me especially addressing those in particular that say, I didn't have a choice. You have a choice now, as you did then, as you will many times. You can pretend like, oh, it's, and put your power somewhere else. It's their choice. Or I abdicate all responsibility because I'm a fucking cog in a machine and I just react to pressure and what I'm told based on the song they're playing on the news, right? That's still your choice. Even if you just allow yourself to be lulled into like a state of willful ignorance and just kind of fucking go with the flow and let tyranny just have its song and day, that's still a choice, right? Not choosing to do something when something needs to be done is a choice. If you're aware that something should be done, even if you're aware that maybe something should be done, and you don't look into it and you don't do your due diligence and your duty of care on a basic universal level, that's a choice. Ignorance is a choice. Yeah. So, at the very least, please, 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 for the love of God, please acknowledge that you did have a choice and choose to own it now. Don't hide. Don't be a coward twice and say you didn't. And especially on top of that, try to weasel your way into like, yeah, we're all good, everyone. We're all good, right? I'm so sorry I gave you shit a couple of years back and said your kids should be taken off you and you should die and shit. Because like, yeah, tables have turned. And but it's all good. Man. I learned my lesson, right? We're all good. We all like each other again. I'm accepted now. I'm the one that's accepted into humanity now. Yeah, you're the one that's accepted into humanity now. Are you? Will you be? Will they accept you back? Will they forgive you? Now that they know that you were wrong, now that they know all the people you said those things to, people you didn't know in person, online, people you did know, colleagues, family, children, your parents, maybe, your lovers, your husband or your wife, all the people that you had a falling out with, all the people you pissed on and shat on, and you put them in their place. You made it clear where you stood, and you weren't part of that madness. Are you going to be accepted? Now that they know know that you were full of shit, that you chose wrong, that you had no spine, that you rolled it out like red carpet for fascism, and you had the nerve to piss on other people whilst you did this for being lesser and keeping us locked in a cage as if we were the ones that didn't want freedom for humanity and what was best for our health. Will they forgive you? Will they forget? Will they ignore it? Can they? That's probably what's eating at some of you now. Some of you that burnt your bridges and now realize, holy fuck, I feel like a bit of an idiot. Whoopsie, made a bit of a whoops. Are people going to be able to see past it? Is it possible? Would I be it? And then you start thinking that, wouldn't you? You start thinking, shit, would I be able to look past that? If somebody said the things to me that I had said to them, could I look past that? Now that I would know that they know the truth. It's interesting. It's a just desserts thing, and it's not this. If there's any satisfaction, it's in that. It's in justice. It's in seeing somebody getting into a bed of nails. It's sad that they brought their families and their children into the same bed with them. It's really tragic. Every person who had, I stand by this, every single person in this world who had their children injected with this new experimental, this brand new mRNA vaccine, which is it's just mRNA gene therapy, totally different. That's why now they call it biogenetics, and hospitals apparently in America. I saw a video where if you say on the contract, I give permission for like things I need done biogenetics related. What that actually means is they can give you the vaccines while you're unconscious in hospital. And apparently some people have complained and be like, I didn't ask for a vaccine. I didn't want the vaccine. What the fuck? Oh, it's here in the contract you signed, biogenetics. Because it's biogenetics. It is to do with genetics. That's not what the vaccines before, what it wasn't messenger ribonucleic acid. It wasn't that. All right. It was fragments of an actual virus. I won't go into. I've done all that. The point is, if there are any people out there that had their children vaccinated or got the vaccine themselves, but had their children vaccinated and don't even know what mRNA is, if they don't even know what it stands for, you don't need to know how to spell it. This isn't like spelling bee. It's not like a fucking academic game show, but it's just your life. It's just your children's biology. It's just the building blocks of their like physiology that mRNA directly governs and dictates in terms of it being like a doorkeeper for which genes express and which genes don't express, right? Like how your body basically develops. That's what these things do. If you didn't know that basic concept of what mRNA does, because you got like this quick little education lesson. You got these ribosomes in your body. It's like little machines, and they produce proteins, and these proteins are like the building blocks of everything. All the organs, all the systems, everything comes from these proteins that are built, manufactured, if that works better in your brain, from these ribosomes, right? mRNA, messenger ribonucleic acid, nucleus information. It goes into these ribosomes, and pretty much the messenger part is like, okay, yo, dog, I've got an encoded message. I got some instructions here. I'm telling you, you need to produce these proteins, man. And it tells these ribosomes to produce some, but it also tells it to stop producing others. And it can accelerate or decelerate the rate at which proteins are being produced. And these things can be triggered based on your activity, based on exposure to heat or cold, your metabolic rate. So people doing sports and stuff like that, there could be a chance that that strenuous activity, doesn't matter about the age necessarily, could trigger a production of certain proteins, maybe ones that weren't there before, like foreign, right? Maybe ones that were there before, but now they're just like being pumped out at such a rate that's not natural. It's not the way things were. This really is a new normal, right? Because your body, the developmental blocks of your body, is being built by the ribosomes differently because you allow motherfuckers to inject government into you. Government.exe file, mother's cookies. I'm talking matrix code there, and like the Oracle's cookie. Anyway, you let them inject the government. You pretty much, got these things dictating how your genes themselves may express themselves, pretty much being regulated and moderated. You can express yourself like this, but no, that is not allowed, right? Well done for installing government in yourself and your children. If you did that and you didn't know that's what you've done, then you don't deserve to have your children. God strike me dead if that is an unfair statement to make. Leave my children without a father. If me making that claim that your children should be removed from your care, if you did not have the due diligence and the due care yourself to even research what mRNA is, especially when they consistently reminded you that this is something new, oh, novel, or do you just get so caught up in the shine of that? You just get so like, oh, new. I like new. Yeah, it's flashy. It's new. I like it. I like. Did you get caught up in like, I like it instead of being like, this is a serious fucking topic, and I should do my due diligence and research. And anyone that's doing their own research and talking to me instead of me being like treating them like I'm back in the 1600s and throwing fucking holy water at them, maybe I should maybe be open to a little bit of intellectual discourse and look at the information they present, right? If you didn't do that, shame on fucking you. Shame on you. Really. Like, I looked into it. Fuck. Our children, there's the vitamin K shot over here in Australia. When you're born, they give you the vitamin K shot. And then you would think, well, surely that can't be too bad. I mean, it's a vitamin. It's a vitamin. Can't be too bad. Right? This is vitamin K. Okay, vitamin OK, sign me up, right? That's some pretty impressive. I don't know if that's why they did it like that. Wouldn't be surprised if it was some part of like an afterthought process at least. Like, oh, dude, that works because it's gonna make people feel like vitamin OK. It's a vitamin and it's okay. Perfect. Let's name it that. Whatever. It's not just vitamin K that's in the shot. Vitamin K actually represents like a tiny percentile, like 0 point something percentile. There's quite a lot of other ingredients in that shot with higher percentiles. I'm surprised it's not just called like vitamin cocktail with a K, maybe, because it might just cuck you up. I don't know. I don't know. But we did our research. Okay. So, even before we went to the hospital, like, okay, what's going to happen? No, no, no. When we were there, we did do our research, but we didn't know about the vitamin K shot until after Omega had been born. Okay. This is 3 years ago in the hospital. The second child we had was born in a tent in a pool, and I delivered with the mother who delivered. Both did it together, but she did most of the work. Obviously, it was magical, wonderful, absolutely. Like, if anyone ever has any questions or wants to um, learn some information about that, because we did our research there, we did our research of doing births like home births, and like in water we wanted versus in hospitals. And it's good to do your research, which is like things that matter, especially when it involves, I don't know, life, like health, especially where it's like people you love involved, especially when those people you love are children and they're yours and under your duty of care and protection. And this extends to the mothers as well as the fathers. It's not just like the protective fathers. If you don't know what mRNA is in principle, and you need to do your research on the people that were heading these various companies, or even like research on Bill Gates' shady fucking history and his kind of where he came from and his parents and everything and where he fits in. Then yeah, due diligence, man. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how well someone packages whatever they're selling. If it's some shady guy on the street that I know to be shady, he's like the most shadiest fucking dealer. He's always been around. He's been around for a long time. Even in the public eye, you can easily find the information and see how fucking eating green shady this motherfucker is. And this guy is now coming up like, yes, now today I'm a proper doctor and I have a proper doctor opinion and I've got some stuff here. Look at this pamphlets and look at these news reports and these statistics. Are you convinced? Here, let me just jab it into you and this little one. Oh, Maxine. It's your lucky day, Maxine. Jabby, jabby. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going to be like, dude, get the fuck away from my daughter, whose name isn't Maxine, motherfucker. Get the fuck away from me because I know you. Doesn't matter how convincing you wrap up what you're selling and pushing. I know you enough, and I've seen enough to see that you are not what you seem to be. And like that's a concept that's like, just dawning upon people. Wow, people can be deceptive. People can be like not what they seem to be. Like they can actually have ulterior motives. That's a thing. Well, I guess people can use that logic when they're looking at people who are fighting for freedom and pro-choice and pro-liberty and pro upholding the actual fucking law and not listening to mandates that literally contradicts the Constitution, right? Because then it's all too easy, right? To use that logic and be like, Well, no, 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 no. These guys obviously have ulterior motives. They're just selfish and they just want everyone to die. They want all the kids and the grandmas to die, like the news says, right? Then it's ulterior motives. Don't listen to them harping on about pro choice, all their signs saying pro choice, pro freedom, and all of this. We'll just call them anti vaxxers and say they're wrong and they're bad and evil and they want to kill everyone because it's like ulterior motives. But then the people that are fucking profiting from this shit with histories that you could easily find out as shady as fuck, and issues even in the medical fields that shady as fuck with passings. You know what I mean? Oh, got to go sleep. Queensland. All right, Chicken King. I hope to see you. I hope not to be you, because you can be yourself better than anyone on the shelf. It's just you better than the elf on the shelf. It's a Chicken King. It's not going to be a thing. I'm not going to do a little sing song on the spot for like people that come in. I'm not one of those people like on TikTok that's like, yo, you come in the every time I see your name, I'm gonna say it. I have to say it out loud. Yo, that's the name of the game. Tell me if I'm wrong. Some bullshit like that. Like, yeah, I like this. I like I like this idea of this guy. Every time I come in the room, he's gonna say my name. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna come in the room all the time. I don't know who gets on board with that. I wish it wasn't in the middle of the night and there weren't people around, so I could be a little bit more like animated and kind of like containing myself. And some of these expressions and these jokes require a little bit more than I can give, which leads to an ultimately stifled result. But good night, Chicken King. And yeah, it's sad. It's sad. This whole entire affair. And like I said, if you didn't do due diligence, shame, 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 shame. It's your fucking duty. It's your fucking duty. Do it again. When it happens again, do your fucking due diligence. Not to thy government, not to thy farmer and thy holy shroud, not to thy farmer, but to your children, to your family, to yourself, to your health, to your body, to the health and to the bodies of all life, all humans around the planet, and to the freedoms and the liberties and the rights of people around the globe. You know, these things that might be just a tiny bit relevant and a little bit bigger and more pressing. Okay, a little bit more important than like any excuse you could possibly come up with as to why you didn't have a choice. Because you know what? As much as I shit on people when they say they didn't have a choice a few years ago, it's like, dude, you did, and you have your reasons. Guess what? If I feel if anyone has the right to say they didn't have a choice, right? It would be the so-called, thanks propaganda, anti-vaxxers. It would be the pro-safety people, the pro-liberty, pro-upholding the Constitution people, pro-fighting for our rights people, pro-protecting our freedoms and the freedoms and the health of our children and their children, protecting our fucking golden ratio and the fine balance of all the systems of genetics, which now we've irreparably, irreversibly foobarred. I'd say beyond repair. Can't take that black shit out of the water once it's contaminated it. That shit's it's a hard thing to process. But I'd say that those people that were pro protecting that human genome, which I would say some people out there and will know that might have been part of it all along, was to destroy that, right? To completely corrupt the gene in the genesis. Well, it happened. It happened. That's how it went down this time again. So I'd say those people that wanted to say, now, fuck that, not this time, and tried the hardest, that those people may be entitled to say, I didn't have a choice. I did not have a choice. What I did, I chose to say no and to do what I felt was right, because it was no choice for me to let fascism rise, to literally roll out my spine and welcome it in without question.